Hi, and congratulations on the purchase of your beautiful new 2018 SL Qashqai Platinum. This is a great vehicle. It's very, very feature rich. It's going to be really good on gas for you, and it's going to be very friendly for your family. It's going to do everything that you want it to do. I know that we covered a lot of features during the delivery, so I want to go back through and refresh you on everything that we have here. So let's have a look at this, and at the end, if you still have any questions, I do encourage you, please contact me. My contact info will follow. So we're going to start right here at the dash. As we see, we've got a beautiful navigation system. Really nice screen here. It is a touchscreen display. So I can use the options here to zoom in, zoom out. I can go to my options or presets. Over on the side here, if I hit navigation, I get into all my controls for this. I can set the exact street address on this. Now I'm going to change this to Nova Scotia because that's where we're at. Nice and easy to change, and I see I've got lots of options here. If I know the exact address, I can punch that in, or I can type the city first. So I'm going to back out of here. If you are going to set your home, set it for something nearby. Heaven forbid somebody actually steals your vehicle. You don't want them to know where you live. We hope that that doesn't happen, but better safe than sorry. Points of interest is going to give you lots of options for your points of interest. You can search by name, find nearby restaurants, gas stations, parking, ATMs, and so on, or you can simply search by category. We're going to go back to our map here. You've also got options for satellite radio. So we've got SXM 1, 2, and 3. You get 6 presets on each one. Your satellite radio is going to be free for the first 3 months. After that, if you want to continue with it, simply give this number here a call. It's on channel 1 on your preview channel. Otherwise, it stops working. We've got FM1 and FM2, 6 presets on each of those as well, and we've got AM. Then you've got options for CD, and our auxiliary button here is going to go through auxiliary, iPod, USB, and it will do Bluetooth as well. So lots of options for your audio. We're going to leave it back here on FM. Our camera button while we're parked is kind of neat. So if I hit camera, I see out the front of the vehicle over here, and I have my 360-degree round view monitor. While I'm parked or in drive, this is the view that will show up. If you leave this on, it's going to stay on for 2 minutes or until you hit 10 kilometers per hour. At that point, the camera is automatically going to turn off. So I'm going to turn this back off here. Over under my apps is where I start getting into a lot of my settings. So I can come into here and then I can access my settings, and if I look at the clock, the time is right, but it is through here that I would go in and set my date and my time. So right now everything is set automatically. I'm going to set it for time zone. Daylight savings is on. Everything is all set. So now in the fall, all I got to do is turn that off, and I drop back an hour, and then back in the spring turn it back on. So right back to there. We've got our volume button here. We've got some audio settings over here. Speed sensitivity is for when you get that little bit of additional road noise, so that you can bump up the speed automatically without having to adjust it. So we're going to back out of here. We're going to look down below. We've got our dual climate control. So if I have a passenger, I can set a separate temperature for them in case they don't like the temperature that I've got. And once they get out, simply push the button and everything goes back to the driver's side. If I set it for auto, right away I notice my fan's going to dial up because it's pretty warm in here at the moment. So I'm going to dial this back. My fan is going to automatically choose where the airflow goes, as well as how high to put the fan. And what it's trying to do is trying to get me to the temperature that I have set here as fast as possible. As it gets closer to that temperature, it's going to dial the fan back automatically. It will automatically adjust where the airflow is to best accomplish that as well. If you want to manually change the airflow and where it's going, hit the mode button. We go from the vents to the vents and floor, strictly to the floor and the windshield, back to the vents. If you want just the windshield, simply hit the button over here. Our rear defrost is over here, so that'll clear off your back window. It's also going to activate the heated side mirrors, so if you've got dew on them or any frost in the winter, that'll help clear those off. Normally I just leave it on auto and let it do its own thing. Down below we see we've got a USB port and an auxiliary port. Your USB port will interact with your sound system as well if you've got a device connected there. As I move down below, I've got my heated seats right here. I've got high and low for functionality. Next up, we're going to have a look at the steering wheel. So as we have a look here at the steering wheel, we see a few things. First off, we've got our Bluetooth hands-free. So if I want to make a call or answer a call, I can hit this button here. To hang up, I just hit this button. I can also use this button here for the voice recognition system. So I mentioned that on the navigation system, while you're driving, all of those options that we saw right over here gray out because they are a distraction while you're driving. However, you can still set your navigation using this button here. Simply hit the button, tell it navigation, and then wait for the prompt and tell it the exact address that you're looking for. It will allow you to set that as your destination and then fully plugs it into the navigation system so that it is all plugged in. You didn't need to pull over to the side of the road to use the touchscreen. It's a really nice feature. Then we've got our cruise control here. So this will turn on my cruise control, and if I watch the top of my driver assist display, I see a new line show up there. Now, as I look up here, I see my cruise control, and I've got a picture of a car with a line underneath it. I can set my cruise speed, and it's going to show me the exact speed up there. From there, I can cancel if I need to slow down. I can resume, I can add speed, I can reduce speed here. But I've got an extra button here. So this is related to the adaptive cruise control. Your adaptive cruise control by default has a distance of 3 car lengths plus safe distance. So if I hit this button down here, I see right away I drop it down to 2 car lengths, 1 car length, back up to 3. So it does give me the option to set my distance on the adaptive cruise control. Now, if for some reason I don't want the adaptive cruise control and I just turn this back off, I can press and hold this button, and we see that my icon changes. I'm no longer able to do adaptive cruise control, so now if I hit this button over here, nothing happens. I'm in normal cruise control mode at this point. By default, every single time that you turn on your cruise control, it is going to be in adaptive cruise control. But you do have the option of just using regular cruise control. On the left side of our steering wheel, we've got a few buttons over here. I've got my volume for my radio, what looks like skip buttons or fast forward and rewind buttons. When I'm on my radio, I mentioned I have 6 presets. Those 2 buttons over there, if I hit this button here, it's going to go forward through my presets. If I hit the other button, it goes back through my presets. So right away, I can control all of my presets and my volume on my radio right there. There is one more feature related to the radio that we're going to get to in just a moment, because you do have complete control of your radio right from here on the steering wheel. Now, our OK button here with the arrows around it controls our driver assist display. So right now, I'm on a trip odometer. This shows me I'm on trip 1. If I press up or down, I get to trip 2. Now, if I go to the right, I also have my fuel economy, and I'm on fuel economy 1. So if I go to fuel economy 2, and now I go back, I'm on trip 2. So if I change one of them, it changes both. So I'll change this back to 1, and we'll notice our fuel economy is back to 1. On any of those screens, I can press the OK button, and I can reset just the screen I'm on, or if I go down, I can reset all. By doing that, that's going to reset both of those screens back to the start. So I'm going to go to the right again. This is pertaining to my navigation. When I'm just driving, most of the time it's going to show me a compass on that screen. But if I do set a destination through the navigation, it's going to change the screen to show an arrow. It's either going to go up and to the right or up and to the left, and it's going to show me the direction of my next turn, and it's going to count down the distance until the turn. The navigation system is also going to talk to me as it's going, but this way I always know when my next turn is going to be, what direction it is, and the system will let me know. So I can keep my eyes face forward and not have to worry about turning my head to look at the navigation screen. Our next screen over shows the radio. So I mentioned just a moment ago that I can change everything with the radio from here. So while I'm on this screen, using the OK button, I can change the source of my music. So right now I'm on FM1, FM2, SXM1, so that's my satellite, SXM2, SXM3, Bluetooth, auxiliary, AM, and back to FM. If I have a device connected to my USB, that becomes an option, the same as if I have a CD, and that becomes an option as well. Next screen to the right is going to show me my adaptive cruise control. So if I turn my cruise back on, right away I see I have a distance of 3 car lengths plus safe distance turned on. If I hit that button, it shows it here, and then down one more, and then back up to 3 again. That is the purpose of this screen, so that you can always tell what you've got set for a distance. Our next screen to the right, and I'll turn the cruise back off. So this pertains to the safety shield. Let's take a moment to go over what the features are with this. The automatic emergency braking is the front piece up here. So the way that works is if you close the gap between you and the vehicle in front of you too quickly, inside your Qashqai, it's going to beep at you, and the gas pedal is going to push back against your foot. At that point, if you don't react, it's going to react for you. The beeping is going to get louder and faster, and if necessary, if you have not hit the brakes or the vehicle hasn't moved, it's going to hit the brakes for you to help avoid the oncoming collision. The other part of the front piece there is the pedestrian detection. So if I look up at my mirror here, right in behind, I've got a big block up here. I have a camera in there, and that's for the pedestrian detection. It's going to work the same way as the automatic emergency braking, but it's going to happen a whole lot faster, because if somebody walks out in front of you, you need the vehicle to react quickly. The 2 side pieces here are pertaining to your blind spot detection. So we do have blind spot indicators on the inside of the vehicle, on the A-frame pillar on each side. When you have a vehicle in your blind spot, that indicator is going to light up a dull orange, whether you're passing it or it's passing you. It's going to light up and stay lit up a dull orange. Now, for example, if the driver's side indicator is lit up and I signal to go left, that indicator is going to start flashing, and inside the vehicle it's going to beep at me. That's what the safety shield pertains to. As we move across, I have a screen that shows me my tire pressure. Now it tells me right here it'll start showing up once I start driving. It will show me the individual pressure for all 4 wheels. Now the really neat thing about this system is if you get a low tire, it's going to pop up with a warning. It's going to tell you low tire pressure. You can clear the warning simply by pressing the OK button. This screen will show you exactly what tire is low and what the pressure is. But this is where the neat part comes in, because you really don't need to know what the pressure is. You don't need to know how to read a tire gauge. You don't need to know what the pressure has to be at. When you go to the garage and start putting air in the tire, when it gets to the right pressure, it's going to beep the horn once to tell you to stop. If for some reason you continue to put air in, it is going to hit a point that it's going to hit a high limit, and it's going to beep the horn 3 times in a row. At that point, you do need to stop putting air in, or you risk ruining your tire. Our next screen over shows me when I'm in all-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive. Because it's an intuitive all-wheel drive, you're going to be in all-wheel drive as you start to pull away. Once you get going, it's going to drop down to front-wheel drive. So when you start to pull away, that top line is only going to be filled up to 50%, but so is the bottom. Once you get going, the bottom line is going to drop down to how we see it now, and the top line will fill up, and then you're in front-wheel drive. If you hit conditions that it needs additional power, or any traction condition, hydroplaning, slippery roads, loose gravel, whatever it is, if the front wheels slip, then your rear wheels are going to get power. You're instantly going to go into all-wheel drive mode. This screen will show you when you're in all-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive. This is our warning screen. So I mentioned if you get a low tire, it's going to pop up with a warning. Right here, there is a little triangle that'll highlight yellow with an exclamation mark when you have a warning. So anything like a door that's not fully shut, low tires, low wiper fluid, whatever it is, it's going to pop up with a warning. And when you clear it, you can come back to this screen to review the warning. If you've got multiple warnings, it will allow you to scroll through them. And to clear the warning, simply fix the issue. So I'm going to open the door here. I'm going to go back a screen. I'm going to open the door. Right away, I get a warning. I'm going to clear it off. I know I still have a warning because of the triangle with the exclamation mark. So when I come over, it shows me warning 1 of 1. To clear that warning, as soon as I shut the door, the warning goes away. So that's all you got to do is to clear the warning is just fix the issue. Our final screen over has a bunch of settings. There's typically only one setting I ever change in here. By default, Nissan vehicles automatically unlock when you turn the vehicle off. Most people prefer that when you shift into park, it unlocks. So I go down to vehicle settings, locking, auto door unlock, and I set it for shift to park. That way, from here on out, it's automatically going to unlock the vehicle every single time I shift into park. That's our driver assist display. Next up, we're going to have a peek at some of the settings down on the left side of the dash. So as we have a look down here at the left side of the dash, we've got 5 buttons. So we've got our traction control here. This will turn off the traction control. Unless you're familiar with that, I highly recommend just leaving it alone. You are in an all-wheel drive vehicle, you're going to have traction all the time. This button here, and I'm going to turn this on, this is the sounds for our lane drift detection. So while that button is on, if I start drifting out of my lane, or I intentionally cross over the lane without signaling, it's going to beep at me inside the vehicle to let me know I'm drifting. If I signal beforehand, it's not going to beep while I cross over the lane because it knows I'm intentionally doing that. Down here we've got our heated steering wheel. If you turn that on, that will stay on for 30 minutes. That will warm up the leather wrapped heated steering wheel that you have. Now right here we see we have an AWD lock. As I push that, over here it tells me it's locked in. I can lock in the all-wheel drive and it will stay locked in up to 40 kilometers per hour. Once I get above 40, it's going to drop down to front wheel drive. It does that just to maintain the fuel efficiency, and your all-wheel drive is going to kick in as needed all the way up to 145 kilometers per hour. So you always have all-wheel drive available under any legal driving conditions. Final button over here is our eco mode. So if you want to increase your fuel or decrease your fuel consumption and get better mileage out of it, I recommend using eco mode. You can use it all the time. If you do, a couple things to be aware of. Trying to get around somebody in a hurry or pulling away from a dead stop is going to feel a little bit sluggish compared to regular mode. Down below here we've got the release for our fuel tank. And finally we're going to have a look at some of the features towards the top of the vehicle. So as we look up the top here, first thing that we see is this. This is for our sunroof. So if I push this forward, that will act as a vent. If I push it back, it's going to close it off again. And if I push it back, it opens up. Now I can stop this anywhere along the way by just pressing the button, or I can let it go all the way back. Push it forward to close it again, and again the same thing. You can stop it anywhere along the way. If you don't want that open, simply grab the handle here and close it off. The other button that we see here is our SOS button. This will connect you to Nissan Emergency Services as long as your Nissan Connect is available, and you should have that for about the first 6 months. Pressing that is going to connect you to Nissan Emergency Services, who, if needed, will immediately contact you or put you in contact with your local 911 services. We've got our map lights, we've got the lights to turn on all of the dome lights, and then this button will prevent the lights from coming on when the doors are open. So the last thing I want to spend some time on is our key fob. So we've got our panic button on the bottom, we've got keyless entry buttons here, unlock and lock. Our top button is for the remote start, so to work that you're going to hit the lock button and hold the top button for 5 seconds. It's going to start the vehicle from up to 200 feet away. From there it's going to run for up to 10 minutes. You do need to engage the vehicle to keep it going. To do that, you need to get in, and the exact same as starting it, you need to put your foot on the brake and press the button to start it. Otherwise, even though it's running, the moment you put your foot on the brake and grab the gear shift, the vehicle will turn off. Now, I mentioned this will run for up to 10 minutes. If you're running late and want to extend it, simply hit the lock button. It will allow you to extend it once, and you can add 10 minutes to the count from wherever you're at. So for example, if it's been running for 8 minutes and you hit lock, it'll run to the 18-minute mark. If you change your mind and decide you're not going anywhere, simply hit the top button here to turn it back off. Now, because it is a key fob, there is a battery inside of this. The battery typically lasts 3 or 4 years. The first indication that you're going to get that your battery is getting low, You're going to get into the vehicle, you're going to put your foot on the brake, you're going to hit the start button, and right up here it's going to say incorrect key ID. You're going to give it a moment for the message to go away, you're going to try it again, and it'll start. So that's your first indication that you need to change the battery in this. If you go to the point where the battery dies, in the back, we do have a spot here. Push this little button over, and there is a key for the driver's side door. That will allow you into the vehicle. From there, you're going to put the Nissan emblem on the key fob directly against the start button and use the key fob to push in the button. That will still start your vehicle for you. You're going to want to change your battery at that point. So to do that, take the key out. We've got two little recessed areas here. Get something into either one of them and give it a little pop. That'll pop open the key fob to get access to the key. It's a lithium-ion battery similar to a watch battery, just a tad bigger. The number that's on it is the size of the battery that you need. You can get these at most of your local stores. You can change it yourself, or you can come back to the dealership and our parts department can change it out for you. From there, everything's back to normal. This also works with the intelligent key system. So if I look at the vehicle across the way from me, there is a little button on the handle there. So that button will allow me to lock or unlock the vehicle, providing that the key fob is within 3 to 4 feet of the door that I'm at. So there's a button like that on each of the front doors. As long as this is within 3 to 4 feet, one push of the button will allow the vehicle to unlock, just the door that you're at. A second push will unlock the whole vehicle. Once everybody gets out and all the doors are shut, one push on the button will lock the whole thing. Now the beauty of this is, and I'm going to hop out to show you this. If I hop out and for some reason my key falls out of my pocket, I shut my door, I push the button, I hear a whole lot of beeping, and my door did not lock. This prevents me from locking my key inside the vehicle. Congratulations again on the purchase of your beautiful new 2018 SL Platinum Qashqai. This is a fantastic vehicle. I know you're going to love it. It's a lot of fun to drive. It handles exceptionally well. It's great on fuel, and it's going to do everything that you wanted to do. It's very, very feature rich. I hope this helps in going back through and refreshing your memory on everything that we covered during the delivery. If you still have any questions, or if at any point you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can contact via text, call, or email, or if you're in the area, stop in the dealership. If I'm not around, one of my colleagues is more than happy to help you with any questions that you have. I hope to see you anytime that you're in for service and when it's time to get your next vehicle.